Let's use some EFT tapping together to release judgment. As someone who maybe has judged one or two people or places or things or myself in my life, I know this is a useful tool. And so let's give ourselves just a moment to really tune into your particular flavor of what judgment you feel you're holding on to right now. Allow yourself to picture whatever the event or person or situation is. Give yourself a moment as best you can to just not fight it, because we're going to be using this tapping to help release it, help it move through the system. So, side of the hand, even though I'm really judging this right now, and maybe I feel very justified, but I also don't really want to be judging it. I choose to accept myself and what I'm experiencing here. Even though I'm feeling some judgment, and maybe it seems like I'm right. I might even be right. But part of me doesn't like judging this. And I choose to forgive myself for what I'm feeling right now. Even though it feels like I'm holding on to some judgment about this. Maybe I'm replaying it. Maybe there really is something wrong here. But my mind feels fixated on it. Or it just seems so obviously bad or wrong that I feel trapped in the energy of judgment. And I choose to accept myself, even if I'm fighting myself about this. Even if I've been told that I'm supposed to not judge, or supposed to just let go. I obviously need a little support here. Part of me feels like it's necessary for me to judge. And I choose to deeply and completely honor and accept myself right where I'm at with this. Now moving on to the points, this judgment. I'm really judging this. It feels like I'm holding on. Some part of me feels the need to keep judging this. Perhaps it keeps describing to me what's so wrong about this. Why it shouldn't be. Or why there's such a better way. Why this should be different. And part of me might say, what, I'm supposed to let that go? I'm supposed to pretend this is okay? I'm supposed to not have standards? I'm supposed to not honor my feelings? And we can look at that part of us and say, those could be valid concerns. But the question is, can we discern? Can we have that discernment of what we do want or what isn't appropriate about this without that energy locked into judgment? It's perfectly fine to acknowledge there's something about this that doesn't resonate with me. Or maybe I truly disagree with, even on a moral or ethical level. It's okay to honor that. But is it possible that that's already clear? And that the releasing of judgment has nothing to do with giving a stamp of approval or pretending something is great. It is for me, for my energy system, for my mind and body, to transition from being focused on what's so wrong about this to focusing on, okay, well, what's good for me? What's useful and practical for me? Would it be okay to relax some of that feeling of judgment, that tension we feel, the fixation? Because if there is something for me to do, if there is a way, I can be a positive change or contribute something better. Even if I want to use this as a cautionary example, where we're looking at something we're judging and saying, well, I want to make sure I don't end up like that. We can say, okay, the note has been taken. Now, can we relax the judgment so we can put our thoughts and emotions towards what we do want? It doesn't really help me to keep reminding myself how much I don't like this, or listing everything wrong with it. I can say, point taken. There's some things we didn't like about this. And then I can move on. And I can also be open to exploring, This thing I'm judging, if it's not a moral atrocity, what is it about it that's triggering me? And if I so choose, if it's appropriate, I can use that to explore. What's happening in here? What's stored in this body, in my past, in my emotions, that makes me react so strongly to this particular trigger? So if I could make a mental note of that, I might be able to release some of that as well. Then I won't have to keep tapping to release the judgment. But I might be able to use some tapping, or my method of choice, to actually let go of the trigger. So allowing myself to relax the judgment, allowing my body and mind to focus on what feels good for me. Okay, take a breath. As you can see in this one, we went a little longer and used the opportunity to explore the judgment and where it might take you, because if you see my video about how EFT can be very useful, it's not just about necessarily releasing the judgment in the moment, which is great, but it's also, it can be used to really desensitize the trigger itself and go deeper. So I'll link to that video below, along with some other good stuff. I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks so much.